Yeah, so here we go again. I don't know why I was about to take off my mic. I really mean to take off my shades. Oopsie daisy. It's been a longish day. I have not managed everything I aimed to. It's basically done the day that is, and I'm not going to manage any more. For external factor reasons. The thing I did not manage was to hand in my application for my thesis. I did not manage this as my supervisor, or my aspire to supervisor, yet they are, as of this time, they are not yet my supervisor. Because I need to have applied for them to be my supervisor, so yeah. Sorry for the background noise. Opening some cookies. There we go, that's worth it. They managed to forget the piece of paper at home. Happens. That's why I went doing it last minute in the first place. Because I am reliant on others, external people and factors, and that last minute is not going to work. So I aim to make it work. I believe I've had 5 tobacco cigarettes today. Different subject now, sorry. Just brain flow of conscience. I've had 5 cigarettes today thus far, and the time now is 19 past 6 in the PM. I have been up and awake since 8 in the AM, even on my legs, so that's not too bad. That's 10 hours, 5 cigarettes. 3 of which I'll probably add within now, just because, social smoking. Then again, I can very clearly attribute that to something, and that is my hemp arrived yesterday night from Austria, shipped from Austria. First the Austrian post, and then GLS. Which means I have only smoked 5 cigarettes today, but I've also smoked 3 blunts today. I got one just for now for here. Some of the fancy stuff I got, the strain is known as CBG Premium Therapy, which is kind of ironic because this is my therapy here, or substitute therefore, I'm not too happy with how blunts are to be rolled. I've never rolled a blunt in my life before. I've rolled joints but not blunts. The grass just don't work for rolling all that well, so it's better rolling something and then putting the grass in and compacting it. And yeah, I could roll joints, but that kind of defeats the purpose of figuring to try and substitute tobacco through something else. In this case, CBG/CBD grass. It's magic how that works. Today's snack is cookies. They are white chocolate lemon soft cookies, so who knows. I do have to say I approve. And again, I think I'd approve of any kind of cookie. As long as they're edible, I guess. With the CBD and CBG grass, which are the only 2 kinds I've smoked thus far today, and yesterday, I certainly don't mind operating heavy machinery such as motor vehicles. I think I'm still responsible enough by far. It don't impact me at all is not true, but do impact me too little to be of significance. The only thing I have done in this time, which is odd, then again I had done it once before, as in one time in the past, and that is twice in a day be stood in front of a green light and not be going. I have done single instances of this on the not too irregular, but today twice in one day is only happened like once before a couple of years ago. And that might be side effects, just because I'm less anxious, I guess. I'm not too worried about getting going the moment the light turned green, which again do not align with my interpretation of the German rules of the road. Not to hinder others mean when the light is green you should accelerate to the speed limit ASAP. Drink of the day is iced latte macchiato. And I haven't been doing too great at that. Then again, I still have a long way to drop before I reach the average person on the road of the city. So I believe it's fine. it's legal. Usually what I deem right is still the border where I deem it is still a legal border. It's still everything is legal. Like with alcohol, hell, I wouldn't drink a drink and a half and drive. It's legal though. And in this case, I can smoke while driving is perfectly legal, just because there's no THC and stuff. Well, according to EU norm, less than 0.2%, which is a rounding error. And according to German law, it only have to be less than 0.3% to my understanding, so, you know, it's good enough. Joke is hemp can't be grown, well, hemp flowers can't be grown in Germany to my understanding at this time. Legally, that is. Which means you will always only get hemp with less than 0.2% THC, rather than 0.3%, because 0.3% is only a German regulation. For flowers, that is. And of course, they are not sold as hemp to be rolled into blunts. They're sold as aromatic to get a beautiful scent in your flat. Economically, the CBG premium therapy stuff, this here, is not quite sustainable. But the outdoor stuff, which is what I've been smoking the rest of the day, this is only the second CBG one. I had the other one yesterday night. That's viable with like 5 blunts a day, no problem, and I'm still off cheaper. Assuming I do not smoke tobacco. Then again, this is tobacco. That's why it's brown, and that's what I'm smoking now. This should be the 6th of the day. At past 6 p.m, so it could really be worse, you know. It's bloody warm today. 24.5 degrees centigrade. It's still rather humid. There is a breeze going on outside. Today was the last appointment for uni, I guess I have. Was not at uni. It was with a course that does not make sense because it's too little a course to have any exam. Which means the tutor decided, oh, how do you guys feel about going to exhibitions? First off, they're being paid for the contact hours, so it's fine by them. And for us, it's nice because we actually got time to go to exhibitions, and we got to choose them, so we can't complain. Today we went to Dark Matter, which a former associate of theirs, former being like close to 2 decades ago, but still, is organising or part of organisation. So that was a fun one. And the only thing I found nuts is how much of that is business and how little of it is art. No offence, obviously. It's good art, I like it. That's why I picked the exhibition, to be fair. But so much of that business must be leaking money right, left and centre. I don't know how many governmental grants you get for that kind of stuff, but I mean, the thing they're preparing now for Friday, which I might go to if I get an opportunity to, I don't know, depending on if I get in or not. I'm not going to go there unless I know ahead of time that I'll get in. The things they're prepping are hundreds of grand in equipment. And that's just crazy. I mean, the art is very similar to the stuff I'd done, like Broken Skies Bleeding, just multimedial, not just video, but just basically interpret the values of Broken Skies Bleeding into machinery, and you have the same thing. Or 20.24/20.24. My work is very close to that field, I guess. The only difference is I'm doing video and those are installations, which are based on video. Same difference in my book. It's just way harder to execute those. And you need money, you know. And that reminded me of why I do not aspire to do art for a living, I guess. To some degree, it's just me being real snobby. To the point where, in my eyes, if something is commercially viable, it is not as pure an art. Let me take a thumbnail of that. There we go. is not as pure of art as if something is not for commercial purposes whatsoever. Then again, with that exhibition, I'd be surprised if it were break even. But realistically, I understand to do that kind of art in form of exhibits, some of which are interactive, all of which take a lot of space. You need money, which means you need to care for the business side of things, which is why I don't want to be doing that. I'd much rather spend my free time doing that kind of stuff and having fun doing it than making it my source of income, paying my rent, and me having to do it. I believe it's lose its purity. The main thing I was bothered with at that exhibition was how stuff was done physically, because I figured the art part behind it rather quickly. And a lot of that stuff is multiple DMX universes coupled, which is crazy. I believe all but 2 exhibits were entirely industrial Legos and maybe some paint. Well, industrial evented Legos and some paint, so mostly DMX. And I don't want to know the software end, but I highly suspect something like Unreal. Could be Unity. Could be a custom solution for all I know, but it's unlikely. Unity or Unreal both do the job. I believe Unreal is a bit better for DMX kind of stuff. But that's just, crazy, because all of that running via DMX, because it's easy to replace things, and that's an exhibition that'll be up for years. I mean, hell, the entire building's painted black, so it has to be. I also enjoyed the art as such once I figured out the mechanics behind it. Sometimes that took me a while. Most cases it didn't take that long. And in a few cases, the mechanics allowed for things I would have loved to have seen on the art side of things, on what you do with the installation, which were not done, which I was kind of a bit disappointed. Then again, that's the thing about art, everyone do their own thing. Everyone likes something different, so if I want to do things like that, I can build an array of balls on ropes and do it my way. I did get a bit of inspiration out of that. Not for my thesis, which I hadn't planned on, because that's not really video art, it's light art. Most cases it was too low a resolution to be considered video. In the 1 or 2 cases it might have been a high enough resolution in. I still would not consider it video just because it was too simple. The closest to video art is a piece named Bonfire. It's the 4th piece you see if you go through it in order for the exhibition, which you have to apparently, or you're supposed to. And Bonfire seemed to me like it was DMX projection onto light rods, light bars of a bonfire, but what I found odd is it would seem to have been only a 2D projection. I mean, for most people it would work, 2D projection from 2 or 3 focus points, but for me it kind of broke the illusion a bit when I figured it out. I believe to have figured it out. Just to be clear, I haven't 100% figured it out, but I highly suspect it was multiple planes and not enough planes to satisfy me. With 5 I probably would have been happy. I reckon it was 3, maybe even 2. One could tell because the outside at times was as bright as the inside was supposed to be, if you looked from the right position, which most people appear to not have. Most people just go into the room, take a seat and watch. I guess that's another thing people can do. I figured it out, it was event or lighting Legos. The moment I saw loose ends of DMX, because they have to end somewhere, and if the lights have pass-throughs, surprise, you'll have a loose end or a loose port. In this case, it was actually cables. So yay, figured it out. One thing I also rather liked, I don't know the name, but good news is, so I got the exhibition guides here in German and in English, so I might as well look at what the title was. The one with balls was inverse. Might as well show you the picture they put in here. It's just balls on string in front of a illuminated backdrop. For me, that illusion, well, not the illusion, but the art of it, was disturbed by the fact that not all the strings were the same thickness. One or two were thicker. I suspect they were replacement when previous ones got broke or got worn or whatever. One I really rather liked, and that might have served as inspiration for something I could consider doing, if I can find it. Magic, There we go. Is circular, because from these move on in three-dimensional space. Well, they tilt and they pan, and they raise elevation. So 3 axes. The 3 axes are done with 3 chords on an equilateral triangle around the ring, which is full of individually addressable RGB lights. I believe those might have not been DMX, but even if they weren't DMX, they were just GPIO controlled. I highly suspect. I don't know for certain, but that was rather interesting to me, because I can imagine doing something like that. I'd likely want to start with a render. Then again, they most certainly started with render. So that's a fun one. The only thing I didn't quite like is the idea of the covers for the rings. So because surprise, you can't have the electronics be visible for this. This would break the illusion for many people, apparently. It's my guess. Is the fact that the tops and bottoms of these rings were refractive of MDF. So I believe they weren't painted. Might have been intentional. Highly suspect it weren't. And the backdrop black wasn't black. It was dark grey. Those are very minor complaints, but that's something I'd do different, or try to do different. I might not manage, Yeah, they had individually addressable RGB, and there was 9 controlled ropes, individually controlled. And that's all that piece got. Well, and a load of speakers around the room, surprise. And that's something I can actually see myself realising within a year or so. The only thing is, I wouldn't have nowhere to exhibit it, because that's the expensive and difficult bit. I mean, in some of the cases of these installations, the technology is also hella expensive. Like with Grid, for example. This is a icosahedral planar split of 4x4 grid. And that's a lot of DMX, and each of them is individually controlled via wires, so that's a lot of motoring. And that's also got the biggest computer in the room, being, I believe, 5 19-inch full-size racks, which is crazy. Then again, I highly suspect for the installation of Grid, they did not need all the 5 computers. They also have a load of moving heads around the room, which were not in use. So I suspect they use it for other things at other times. That room, that is. I always feel kind of snobby when I look at exhibitions like this and art like this. Because though I can enjoy it on some art level, For me, the technical stuff is the real interesting bit about it, I guess. And I find something to whine about too much at a time. For example, in the lobby, it's not in these, because it's just in the lobby. It's not actually a piece by itself. Well, it's the lobby deco, you know. They got just an ultra close up of a face on transparent or opaque black pixels, all transparent, and they're backlit. So you've got a face on that, but the thing is, there was 2 clusters of 5 pixels that were dead. Others apparently didn't even notice. I know because my classmate came late and they hadn't noticed when I mentioned it to them. And I highly suspect they are representative of the people in large. Then again, with an exhibition like that, I'm not surprised to hear, or would not be surprised to hear, they go through and every couple of months they replace all the broke pixels, you know. With something like that, you'd have enough pixels in the first place for building it that you could maintain it for quite a while. So I don't actually know what technology that is. I'd reckon it's some form of LCD with orientation of crystals or so, but I'm not sure because it's a matter of transparent and opaque. Highly suspect it's some form of LCD, but I wouldn't actually know. I mean, there is OLED, I believe. Now, I don't know. There is Samsung and LG technologies display, that is, that do allow for transparent monitors, but those are evidently way smaller pixels. I reckon with that size pixels, it's not too difficult engineering wise, but I wouldn't actually know. I don't think I mentioned this now, but I might have. If I did, well, thank you very much for watching. I'm repeating myself. Sorry for that. Sorry for that. Oh, by the way, I'm repeating myself. Sorry for that. With my application for my thesis, it's due Friday, but Friday no one is in the office, and I still want to make sure they enter the credits for last semester, which they have not thus far, for some odd reason. So tomorrow I'll pick it up, and I'll send an email and bring physical copies by the examination office. Pick it up from my thesis supervisor, or aspired thesis supervisor, most certainly have talked about this, and hand it in, and then I'll have applied for my thesis a day before deadline. So that's something, you know. Monday I got something I consider an appointment, the other party most certainly do not, for the car. Going to cost me an arm and a leg. Well, maybe not for Monday, but latest Wednesday is going to cost me an arm and a leg, I'd guess. I intend on getting a full service and 2 new tyres. I am dire need of a service to the point where the car's saying 200k or 19 days, so 200k is going to want an oil service. Worst case, I'll have to reset that. I think I've previously said so. But I'll be looking after the service anyways. I'll make sure I get one, you know. That and the tyres is the minimum. I do also plan on taking the diagnostic logs from the wiring harness issue with the diesel particulate filter pressure differential sensor. Because I have a diagnostics, because I paid for diagnosis like $190 quite a while back. And I was happy to pay just to hear the fact that it's not the DPF that's bad, because that would mean I could not afford to maintain this car. If it were now, I still could not afford, because that's a couple of grand and I ain't got a couple of grand. Funny how that works. Overall, I'm actually quite comfy. I'm not too stressed. I do believe the CBD and the CBG hemp help with actually taking it down a notch, the anxiety. Haven't been anxious all day. It's pretty pleasant. Then again, I was also not anxious yesterday morning. I was rather happy. So I think I'll get all the thesis done. And I'm looking forward to it because I'll be very happy to have that behind me. I did mention the thing about my internship boss last session, 133 I believe it was. So I'm not going to repeat myself on that. Tomorrow is a bank holiday, but not in this land. I'm saying land because that's the way the European Parliament translates state. Well, translate Bundesland. They translate it land in English, so I guess I should not call it a state, but it's basically a state. We're a federal republic, and a federal republic is made up of states. You wouldn't believe, or generally considered. I am really quite comfy with doing the thesis. Not too worried. I'm fairly confident I'm gonna shoot from this city in a few weeks. Find out then. Well, first find out Monday, I guess, on how it's looking with the car. The way it is currently, I'm still not comfortable going 100 kph consistently. Then again, a lot of people probably wouldn't have even noticed the screw, and I've noticed it 6 weeks ago. Tyre's been keeping pressure pretty well. I did top up the tyre a total of 3 times thus far, and on my way here from the shops, I was to the shops by the way, I did top up €50. Not actually litres this time, but euros, just because I'm paying cash, you know. Shopping today, I spent $63. And this morning I had been to a Rewe supermarket, which I actually quite like the layout of. It might become a frequent supermarket on my way to work and from work. Once I get a job, that is. And I did spend $7 there on a couple of Cokes, these cookies, 2 poultry rolls, which are basically sausage rolls. They're pastry with meat inside. In this case, poultry, but still tastes like a sausage roll. And a tarte flambe for €7. That was actually not that bad a deal. I was quite comfy with it, and that was a solid lunch. I had tried to talk to myself then, but I really went in the right mindset for some odd reason. Perhaps because I was hungry, I guess. So I just ate and went to the exhibition. That worked out well, though. I even got quite good parking for the exhibition. There's very little parking around there, and I got a spot on the shade. A spot on the shade, but a couple of 100 metres from the front gate. I do still aim to go and get the car cleaned the next couple of days. I might do so tomorrow on the way into town. Well, to clean, not to get it cleaned, I guess. The outside do a machine, and a machine do the outside, and I'll do the inside with a vacuum and so on. It only costs $14, which really makes it very attractive to be doing, particularly as I don't want to bring it as dirty as is to the workshop on Monday. And I like having a clean car, to be fair. It's nice, you know. It's not half as annoying to have a clean car. I mean, I'm looking at the floor mat here, and it's hella filthy. Then again, I'm wearing shoes when I drive this car. So in fact, the first car I have owned that I drive with shoes. I don't think I've ever driven this barefoot. Huh. With shopping, I only got 10 litres of milk because I still have 3 at home. The reason I need to go shopping is my bread had spoiled, even though I'd only had it for a week and a half. I had half a packet, but the other half grew mould, so I'm happy I saw that mould before I bit it, so that's something, you know. I did get 1 more pack of bread. Should be good for a while. Odds are half it'll spoil again just because I don't get around to it quick enough. Mm. Though this is not tobacco, it's still carcinogenic because, surprise, burning things give you cancer. Barbecues give you cancer. Don't do barbecues. Do not smoke. Be responsible. Don't leave your bed all day. That's not fair. That's a bit cynical of me. Sorry for that. This is unnecessary carcinogenic risk. Yeah, this is the CBG premium therapy. This is not viable for me to replace tobacco with. This particular strain of flower, just because it's a bit too expensive. I could have 1.5 of these a day. To be fair, these are quite big. One Halloween blunt, you know. There we go. One was there. We go. They are quite mean plants. They hold 0.9 grams of tobacco. I say, haha. I mean, of course, of hemp. I just dropped my embers into the door. Whoopsie daisy. There we go. That's solved. Whoopsie daisy. Yesterday I did prep my blunts for today. And the one thing I don't quite like about blunts instead of joints, which is how I consumed hemp and cannabis in the past, is the fact that it's not very rollable. So you kind of have to start with just paper and your tip, and then you fill it up. Then again, it burned longer. That was correct assumption on my end. I can be smoking one for about 20 minutes on the side, which is quite nice, I guess. I'm still a bit sussed out about driving with these or having these in the car, because, surprise, the car now have a nice scent of hemp and or marijuana. Can't tell the difference from scent, surprise. And if the police were to pull me over, I'd most certainly get blood checked. Then again, I'd pass any checks, because this is legal to be smoking, and I have not smoked anything illegal in the past few days. Illegal in the sense of operating heavy machinery, not illegal to consume. Because one can now consume marijuana, as it is legally referred to, in this country, no problem, and one can own it. One could always legally consume it, but one could not legally have possession of it in the past. I do like the taste and smell of this stuff. The devil's lettuce. It's quite pleasant. The only thing about it is it do still give you cotton mouth and some munchies, which I guess is fair enough. Then again, I ought to be looking out for my figure a bit more, because it's it's actually rather directly linked to health. And munchies is not good for that. I'll cross that bridge when I get there. For now, I'm doing it primarily to reduce significantly and or completely substitute my tobacco consumption, which have worked thus far today. I've had 6 cigarettes. I know at the beginning I said it was 5, but since then I've had a cigarette, so now it's 6. And I will have to push the button for that one once I'm done here. Oh no. It feels very odd to be driving with wads of smoke of this kind coming out of the car, because it's very smellable, and I mean, this evidently does not look like a cigarette. It's a bit big for that. I don't mind though. It's odd, but I guess it's the idea of not only is it legal, but it's also responsible in my eyes. Assuming it did affect my driving for the worse, the only thing I noticed of it was I stopped at green lights twice for longer than I should have, because they were red when I stopped and they turned green. But I just missed it because I was in fault, which is a bit irresponsible, but it's not going to do no harm. No one's going to die because you aren't moving. With the packages I picked up yesterday at my neighbour's, that is. My neighbours were so kind as to take several packages for me. My favourite neighbours, I guess, to take packages took the hemp, which I'm glad enough about, I guess. Don't mind. Actually, did they? No, they took my repeater indicators for the car. I got those in the back, and I'm gonna fit them after I've cleaned the car, I guess, or during. The hemp actually got put in my mailbox, and for some small clips for the back ceiling, the sky in the back, heaven, sky, I'm not sure. This kind of stuff, but in the back. It got put at my immediate neighbours, same floor, and I believe they were not very happy that their subletter took a parcel from me, which I'm kind of bummed by, but I guess I got favourite neighbours to take packages, and it's not my immediate neighbours anyways, so could be worse, you know. Thick wads of smoke, man. That's actually a good thumbnail. Whew. Yeah, I like the taste, I like the smell. And in fact, I did not like my first cigarette until about 1 in the PM, which means I lasted 5 hours before I had my first nicotine of the day, of the calendar day, not just a waking period, which is solid. And I actually slept really well from yesterday to today, which I do not have enough data to say it was the CBD or CBG. I believe yesterday night I smoked CBG blunt. There we go. Words, hard things. The word I had been looking for in 132, I believe it was ambush in regards to my thesis supervisor. I did get some social feedback from a person I know and greet, but not beyond that, on how to go best about an ambush for it to be socially appropriate. And they said, oh, announce yourself via email, so I did. And that worked. I am rather concerned for a friend of mine, one of you, hello there, thank you very much for watching, who haven't responded to texts and have been quite depressed, but I'm sure they'll pull around. I'll probably contact their SO just to see how they're doing. I hope I don't got her, but, well, got her in the sense that they get back to me before I have to contact their SO, but we'll see, you know. Universe work in mysterious ways. I might very well just forget about it. But I am really hoping to see them sometime soon, Sunday or so. We usually see one another Sundays, so that's the best chance to, I guess. With today's exhibition, this here. Actually, I don't know if I'm now. There we go. It's kind of interesting where it is, but it could not be anywhere central just because it's too noisy. Because, surprise, loud music and sound design are loud. And they're working on an outside installation for Friday with like 20 huge effing moving heads. And I approximate 350 or so tubes of multiple or of several individually addressable RGB DMX zones inside. They are not the brand name Astero ones that I know, at least not by the connectors. They might be either modified version or something very similar. Realistically, they will cost 3 figures a pop, which means there's several $100,000 sitting there in lights, which I find amazing. And the crazy thing is, they won't all last long. Some might kick the bucket in no time, and then they'll have to be replaced, which means they also have spares. With something like that exhibition, I find it kind of crazy because there is initial setting up cost. The property, perhaps the building, all the equipment, having all the stuff made, or making it. And then there's hella running costs, because I counted at least 5 people working there simultaneously, which, assuming minimum wage, still costs an employer approximately 15 grand. And there's very limited space for visitors, which means they can only have so many visitors at once, which kind of make me wonder how something like that is profitable. Then again, it's culture. Historically, culture have always been sponsored by people who are well off, or organisations that are well off, or governments that are well off, and it might very well be the case here, you know. But that's a good reason I don't want to be doing art full time. I've said this before. Am I repeating myself? Am I repeating myself? Yeah, but something like that I certainly wouldn't mind being part of one day. Perhaps there, or some museum, you know. I actually have a museum in mind. Shan't dox myself or ruin opportunities before I've had them. Because I like art like that. I certainly would be interested in doing it. I believe I got the technical expertise and knowledge, and the bits I do not got I could learn in no time. And I believe I also got a creative enough spirit to actually realise something like that, which is odd for me to say, because don't really match my self-esteem levels. Hell, you know. Hell! Could be worse. The examination office is not in on Friday, which is a funny thing, because that's our deadline for bachelor's thesis submission. Then again, apparently they primarily want emails, so I guess that's what I'm doing. I will be the only film and motion design bachelor getting their degree this semester. My one peer who had not been with me from the beginning didn't have enough credits in some things, so they'll be pushed back by one semester. Which is kind of odd, because it show out of the 5 people in my course of studies in my semester across the time that I was studying it, I'm the only one with enough what's the right term? Let me think. Consistency. There we go. To actually get the degree. I mean, I know at least one of them had a degree already, so they ain't too bothered. Another went to another uni. One never showed up. And one is now delayed by one semester. I don't know how much I'll keep smoking these blunts, because it do affect me a bit. No lying, you know. But I think I'm more chill of a person this way, and I don't mind it because I am more chill internally. And it's legal for me to still drive, so, you know. Yeah, but overall this exhibition was quite alright. There you go, there's the entire pamphlet. I just think it's crazy it can be economic to have exhibitions like this, semi-permanent. Just because, I mean, it's not like the gear only costs for the time, it also wear out through that. Which means you're buying all the gear, spares for all the gear. Either buying the space or leasing the space don't matter, but using a space that could otherwise be making profit for that period of time, and paying taxes on and running costs. Load of electric. But I guess that's the point of art. Like, yeah, okay, there's a merch shop and. But this is pretty close to the commercial version of as pure an art as possible, in my understanding, I guess. I did find the isometric grid. The installation of the grid is the name as well. It's an isometric 4x4 grid of tubes, or triangles of tubes. I found that actually technically quite interesting as well, because at the end of the day you're deforming your plane, and these are just points on the plane are the corners of these triangles. But you are deforming it in, well, the points you're only deforming in one dimension, but the lights you're deforming in 2 dimensions, as in height and color, and the triangles you're transforming in 3 dimensions, tilt, pan, and elevation. Which is an odd way, I think. I don't know. I guess just elevation being the spatial dimension that change do make a lot of sense, because I mean you can easily realise it. Have wires from the top pull, release, gravity assist, you know. Huh. Anyways, I'm gonna finish my blunt on my way home. Funny as that sound, but it's only a CBG blunt. It's premium therapy. Stay safe. I'll see you around. Cheerio.